We're about to send it, folks. I'm freaking jacked. Get pumped. And cozy.
Pumped for you is a little bit different than pumped for me.
Yeah.
Like you like pump it, and I like pump it.
Oh.
Like rave, pump. You like pump the muscle, pump.
Yo, you know something?
What's up?
I think it depends on the day.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fair.
Because sometimes you like a little bit of both.
I mean, I could see that. I could see you liking both, maybe.
Sometimes you want a little
you
rave
rave?
pump.
You rave pump?
Of course. I raved in the pits of Chicago.
Wait, the pits?
I just call it a pit because it was downstairs. This club
like
I went to one time.
Club?
It was like a basement club.
That sounds nice. Techno?
It was definitely techno.
Okay.
And my buddy invited me to it.
Okay.
And I was wearing a light blue
knows what's up.
V-neck.
Okay.
Tight jeans and white sneakers.
Okay.
It was goth themed. So everybody...
You did not fit the part?
No. It was the opposite. Everybody had the most gothic black face.
You were
black
like
nails.
A real estate agent at a rave at this point.
Exactly.
Got it.
Yeah, I was a young sailor at the time. / realtor, yeah.
Good memories. Good Chicago memories.
It was lovely. To your point, yeah.
I love this for you.
Techno, and you?
Oh, yes. This is a weekly occurrence for me. But it's in my line of work, though.
You like to dance?
Oh, my gosh. That's the best form of therapy. Yes.
I'm glad you said that.
Of course.
People need to explore that more.
I completely agree. And I think people are.
Now, what do you think about organized dance compared to free flow / freestyle? Is there a difference?
Gosh. Organized, like flash mob?
No, let's say, for example, yeah, we don't even have to
We're for flash mobs in here.
Oh, all right. Well, I have to pick your brain on that one.
There's like never flash mobs in Austin, like very, very rarely. Like New York, LA, like there's always flash mobs, right?
I've never seen one.
I mean, I've never seen one in person.
No?
But
statistically speaking, you're saying that those other cities have a little bit more going on.
I think we should have more flash mobs in Austin for sure.
Make a
little
note, folks.
Community. Maybe your ATX coffee group can start a flash mob.
Oh,
a coffee shop.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love coffee. And it's like, who's singing that? Who's that? And then all of a sudden, 3 more people.
Oh my gosh.
We love coffee. And then boom, dance on the tables.
Yeah, you got to pick your little coffee track.
So folks, we got Brooke Blodgett.
That was a good intro.
Which is agreed. Smooth sailing up in here. And that last name's French, I learned a bit ago. So how do they pronounce it in France?
Blodgett.
Blodgett. Blodgett.
It's just...
Have you ever been to France?
No, I need to go experience. My aunt is there.
Yeah.
So I need to go. Trust me, it's on the agenda. I don't really do too many vacations, which is something I'm changing in 2024.
Oh.
But, yes, it's happening.
Well, let's check this out, okay? Let's say you got the year calendar in front of you.
Yeah, what's up?
And you can see all the months, and then you're like, oh, you know what? Right here is the first day that I'm going to take a vacation next year. Where are you going?
I need to go back to Turkey.
Back to Turkey?
I need to go back to Turkey.
Why?
Yes. So
That's a powerful word.
Yes. So my man's is from Istanbul.
Istanbul.
Yes. And so we went last summer for his sister's wedding, which was great.
Yeah.
But, when you go for like a wedding, you are limited on time, right? And like there's just so much beautiful, like everything to experience in Turkey. Like it's truly endless almost, the opportunity to just explore.
Yeah.
And the history and everything like that is just crazy. So I want to go back and just have like the time to like actually explore Turkey beyond just, the fun ritual, which was amazing, wedding festivities.
Yeah, that's cool. So you went there and it kind of just was a teaser.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And I had like I don't know if other people experience this, but sometimes I can get a little like subconsciously stressed with traveling and like long flights.
No, that's a real thing.
And so like for some reason, the first like 4 days we were there, I couldn't really eat a lot. Like it was really hard. Yeah. And I'm a foodie. Like if you know me, like if I could go out and eat out every meal, like I would. but that's just, not realistic. So, but yeah, I literally didn't get to eat like half of the things that I wanted to eat there. So even that is like a reason to go back, because the cuisine in Turkey is like phenomenal. Like it'll change your life.
Do you have any? Because I'm starting to get accustomed to the Israeli dishes, Mediterranean, like tabbouleh. Okay, I'm hearing that all the time now. Okay, tabbouleh. All right, I'm eating that like every week.
Okay.
Now, what about the Turkish dish? What's something that, boom, we got to put it on our list?
Oh my gosh, lahmacun.
Look, see? What is it?
Lahmacun. I'm probably not even saying it right. But he's gonna give me. Yes, so it's amazing. It's kind of like a Turkish pizza. It's very thin. It has like minced meat on top. They put it in the wood burner, and then they serve it with like fresh chopped onion, tomato, lemon on top. Oh, it's divine.
Lahmacun. So if you have a hard time remembering this, think of the animal llama.
Yeah.
And then the month of June.
There you go.
Lahmacun.
Turkish is really hard language. So just bear with me.
So is Turkish just is it its own separate? What's the language? Is it Turkish?
It's Turkish, yeah. Uh-huh. Oh, yes.
Is it the only country?
And they have like, they have like accents and slangs, just like we do. Obviously, like you can tell in America if someone's from the north or the south, right? It's same thing. Like they have their little accents in the different like regions of Turkey, but Turkish. Mm-hmm.
That's cool. If you don't know, now you know.
Yeah.
So Brooke, let's take our listeners on a little bit of a roller coaster ride.
Sure.
So let's start with the end in mind. Where are you in life right now?
Yes.
And I left that open-ended on purpose.
Yeah. I see that. So right now, I'm diversifying right now. So right now, I've had my own digital marketing agency for the last decade, and that has obviously taken lots of many different shapes and forms along the way, as a business does. And so that really is my creative consulting piece. So that's where I just partner with local businesses, creatives that really just need some guidance, whether it's, specific to branding, specific to marketing, all of it, any way that I can help. That's kind of what takes care of that. And then something I kind of started a little recently in the past year and a half is also helping people build their own creative agencies as well. So finding the right people to kind of fit all the different pieces that come up with having a digital marketing agency or any kind of consulting agency. I'm not weird about that. I don't see it as being competitive. I think the more the merrier. So that's another little thing that I've been doing. And then just to kind of have my own hands always in the community and in Austin, because that's always a super big important piece for me, is to make sure I have my pulse on kind of what's happening in the city that I'm living in and contributing to. I have the Creative Admirer. So that is my personal blog. That also has taken a lot of different shapes and forms along the way. I used to interview, not on podcasts, but on my little personal blog about 5-6 years ago, interviewing business owners and just people that I thought were really inspiring for me and things that I was seeing that they were doing, whether they were artists or, event producers, whatever it may be, right? So that evolved into, as I got busier, it was really hard to kind of maintain that whole interview process and everything like that. So
definitely,
I shifted right after the pandemic. I saw that there was a really big need to kind of help bring people back together again. They were kind of having a hard time in a way, they were craving connection, but they were like, what's going on? Or we are having a hard time kind of seeing where are all the opportunities to go have fun again and things like that. So that's where I started putting together my weekly list of recommendations. So it has more of a focus towards dance, towards creatives, towards art events, towards foodie events, things that are culture specific, and things that are a little bit more outside of, what you might find on a Google search, if you will. So that's kind of that little piece of my bucket that I've just been figuring out, like, where are the opportunities to even grow that to, right?
So what has that done for you so far?
So it's done a lot, actually. It started out at first, literally, like I said, just kind of like helping out my friends that I thought were inspiring to me, that I thought other people, if they experienced what they were doing, they would feel some sort of inspiration as well. But it's created a lot of opportunity. I now, I get asked to basically consult on a lot of different projects now that I might have not even been a part of the conversation before, just because they didn't know I existed. Right.
Yeah.
So I think awareness, it's helped with that a lot. And it kind of just has, in a way, not positioned me as the expert, but like a expert in what's going on in Austin.
Wow.
Which is always powerful.
Yeah, so I'm sure that's unlocked a lot of opportunity for you and created some great connections.
Yeah.
As well. Now, doing what you do for a living, do you ever have any interesting stories that are unique to your space by chance?
Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of different, how do you say, like the world of marketing and then the world of hospitality, nightlife, even real estate. It's such, how do you say, affected by what's happening in the time. It's affected by what's happening in culture. So I think that's something that's a little maybe unique in a way to what I do is I have to always kind of know, like, what's the next thing? Like, what is the next piece that someone might be looking for, but they don't know they're looking for, but I know, right? So when I have the opportunity or when I do make a new connection and I get an idea because of the experience that I've had and because I have gone to so many different variety of events or I've worked with so many different businesses in different industries, I try to just form connections where maybe other people might not think of. So that kind of gives me like a little bit of an edge.
Any specific examples of that?
Oh, God. So this is the thing with me that people find kind of frustrating is like, I don't always tell who my clients are.
Well, yeah, I get that.
I kind of like,
yeah.
I haven't, I always play with the idea of like, maybe one day I will share more of what that is. But like if you go to my website, for example, like I'm by referral only, also for that reason, because I just don't, for me, like if you know me and you get to know me, then you know who I work with, because I don't keep it private in conversation. But like as far as my social media goes or my website, I keep a lot of that information private to like my portfolio, things like that. But a nice story, I'm trying to think. I mean, crossing industries is always powerful. So because you're tapping into different demographics and different opportunities to connect with people. So like bridging real estate, right, with the music industry, I think is always an interesting connection. And that's one that we play with a lot. Because real estate is it has to be embedded in culture or you get lost in the noise. Like real estate is a really competitive industry. Like, just thinking about how many agents are in Austin, one of the main ways or only ways you can stand out is figuring out that tap into community and connection and music, nightlife, hospitality. I mean, there's kind of not a better way to be more embedded in culture than tapping into that.
Wow. Yeah, well said. Well said. So let's throw it back, okay? Because we got an idea of where you are now and what you're doing, which is totally awesome. Now let's talk about what ultimately led up to this life that you've designed for yourself.
Oh God, chaos.
Yeah. Oh, well, great.
No.
Let's not forget to talk about that, because this is a Pivotal Moments podcast after all.
Yes, it is.
So what's your story?
Oh, I mean, my family, I come from a family of entrepreneurs all the way back to my grandparents. So I think I've always just been surrounded with a mindset that you can create the life that you want. Like ultimately you are in control. But that being said, we forget along the way many times, right? Like being an entrepreneur, you have so many roller coaster moments. And like, I can't tell you, like at least, I don't know, a dozen times that I've like had that moment where I'm like, man, like this is gonna be it, right? Like this is gonna be the thing that changes my life. And that's just not really, in my experience, how life works. Like it's just a constant changing, evolving being of like, as an entrepreneur, where are you going to go? Like, where are you going to take it next? And the possibilities are always endless. And so with me, like I have a plan, but at the same time, it's such a flexible plan. Like I think having a course of like, this is like the goal of where I'd like to be, but if it changes, that's okay too, right?
Yeah.
But I had to learn that along the way. Like I had to fail a lot of times and literally press the reset button. I've had 3 different agencies in my career with 3 different business partners. And, you know, I think that each time has just taught me such a huge lesson of not only how people work, but how I work with other people. And that's like a big, big, big one. And making sure that every connection that I'm forming, whether it's outside of business or in business, is a healthy one too, and is something that's going to ultimately lead to positive results in any way, shape, or form. So I know it was like a long-winded journey of like how I got started and how I got here, but it is truly, I think an entrepreneurial journey is just always being open to whatever may come next, whether it's positive or a little bit more of a challenge.
Let's take it back to a time where you almost threw in the towel on your entrepreneurial endeavors.
Oh, yes.
To a time where you're just like flat on your face and you're like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Questioning it all. And then the thought process behind your decision making and ultimately what that did for you.
Wait, what was the first part?
Think about a time where you pretty much were flat on your face. You tripped, and metaphorically speaking, of course.
Right. And how I got kind of back on the horse, if you will.
Yeah.
So,
and we can go as far back as middle school, high school, whatever. Yeah.
I mean, oh gosh, shout out to Dripping Springs High School. No, I mean, yeah, I mean, sure, maybe we should. For some reason, a story comes to mind. I was a part of a leadership program back in high school called PALS, Peer Assistance in Leadership. Are you familiar with this?
No.
Okay.
Never heard.
So from the beginning, I was kind of always interested in this type of lifestyle.
Yeah, I see it.
If you will.
That's great. Yeah.
Right. So, but not really knowing at the same time what it all meant. Just, when you're young, you just are attracted to things and you may not always know why at the time.
Exactly.
Right. So anyways, I was like, okay, this sounds good. I'm going to apply. And I actually got in. So, a few months into this whole kind of like class community, if you will, in my high school. And then I was completely basically misjudged and thrown into a situation where you can't drink, by the way, or go to any parties if you're a part of this organization. So there was basically all the pals secretly went to a party on a Saturday night and, did all the things, dance on tables, right? And I got thrown into this group of people. And ironically, you cannot make this up. Ironically, that night was watching a movie with my family on the couch, right? So I had an alibi, okay? But the point being, I was accused of these things that were so wrong and that were so obvious that were not the truth, that at the end of the day, the only people that had my back that could prove it were my family. And that was a very lesson I learned super young, which is a pretty big deal. Like I thought like my life was borderline over. Like I wasn't going to get into college. Like I just thought like, you just like your world's crumbling as a high schooler. But it didn't. I got into the neuroscience program at Baylor. I was fine. Everything was fine. But, you're going to be accused of things, I think, in business, or people are going to misunderstand your intentions or the strategy or whatever it may be. And like, you have to it taught me a lesson that you have to not only always have something to support your plan, right? Like you always have to have information or someone that's like in a position of authority or respect that can also back you up. So I've applied that in a lot of different situations in my career where people have challenged what I've said, or they've, second guessed maybe a campaign, the idea that we have, or whatever it may be. And I have to have A, B, and C to back up anything I say, always, always. And that's like been like a tried and true, I think, method for me that has like got me to where I am.
I just had a epiphany, light bulb, whatever you want to call it. Let's do this for a second. Let's say you're hosting a class, okay, and you've got some people that want to tap into your space as a career. How would you teach them what you just said about having the ABC backup? How would you teach the class that?
Yeah, I think applied to business is a little easier. Right. Applied to business, like, especially with what I do, everything I do is so, in a way, it needs to always have some sort of data to support the creativity. Like, you can't just have this really beautiful creative idea and not have some sort of data to back it up, or else it's just not going to be taken seriously in my line of work. So I would say, do your research. I would say do your research. Like, if you have a creative idea, there's always a reason why, and B, you can find something, usually 98% of the time, something factual or data-driven to support this new idea that you have, and that's like creative, or maybe like a risk, something that's like a little bit of a risk for a brand to take, or controversial.
Now, I hate to do this.
Oh, gosh.
We got it just for my help here.
Yeah.
Do you happen to have any specific examples of where you've had the creative idea and then you figured out what the reason was?
Yeah.
And then you had to provide the data behind it?
I mean, everything with marketing is figuring out how to solve pain points, right? Like or avoiding pain points beforehand. So, I mean, usually when I come in with a rebrand, there's a reason. Like there's, maybe their customers aren't happy, or they're not reaching the demo that they're trying to reach, or they just simply want to hit the reset button and go in a different direction, right? So with that, I usually try to have some sort of like innovative risk-taking moment, because to me, when you go through a rebrand, it's such a big opportunity because you have everyone's attention for one moment, right? Like when you flip that switch for a rebrand, it's so powerful. And so I always like take advantage of that, but make sure you have figured out like every piece of the puzzle. Think about every pain point that someone might have to say or experience about what you're doing.
Dang.
And yeah, but it's fun for me. Like I love it. Like I'm like, whether someone's experiencing your product or service in person or online, it needs to all be the same. Like it has to be seamless. And so that's what I would say is just, like, I'm not going to say a specific example because I can't, but I would just say, figuring out exactly where anyone could have a touch point with what you're doing, and then make sure you go through almost every scenario possible of what someone could come back with a question, with a pain point. Just go ahead and solve it for them from the beginning. Like, take out all of the work that someone else might need to do and just do it yourself. Like, at the end of the day, your service or product needs to be making life better or easier for someone in some capacity. So just take the extra step.
And how is that thought process, that system that you've dove into throughout your career, reflected in your personal life?
Oh, yeah. A lot. I feel like honestly, since COVID, I went through a huge breakup, not only in my personal life, but also in business. And I had to take a serious look at the why behind those two things happened, and really figure out, like, is that the life that I want? Like, clearly there's a pattern here in business and in personal that, like, there was just some things not clicking in the ways I communicated. in the ways that I was creating, in the ways that I dealt with hard situations, right? So I think it applied, I decided to kind of hit the reset button myself,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people did during that time. Like it forced us to, you can't run away from any of these things anymore, right? So that's just kind of, I think, like a Cliff Notes version, if you will, of how it applied to me. Was I hit the reset button around that time as well. And I just decided to be better, like just to be real. Like I needed to be a better person. I needed to be more empathetic. I needed to be more understanding. I had to work on how I communicated with people and just more of a human type of connection versus just business.
And if you were to educate somebody that had no idea what that meant, I mean,
Sure.
most people know what you're talking about, but let's say they didn't. And how would you teach that? How would you say, and how would you measure that? How would you say, this is how you become more empathetic? This is how you do this?
Oh, I mean, measuring, it would just have to be people telling you that they see the difference, right? Like, I think that was when I really was like, okay, these things that I'm trying to do, I didn't really know if I was being a better person. I didn't really know if I was, being healthier in my communication until the responses were showing me that I was, right? So like I was forming deeper connections with my friends, with my family, with people that I surrounded myself with, and they were telling me the same. Yeah, I think that's like an easy way to kind of know right off the bat in a human way. But then as far as like work you can do yourself, I wasn't a big podcast listener. I started listening to podcasts in the morning, like little things that I think reset your mind, right? Like we can just get so ingrained in the day to day and stress, and like there's a lot of anxiety and pressure that comes with my line of work. And when you sleep, you do hit the reset button. But I'm really bad about like when I wake up at 6 in the morning or whenever it is, that the first thing I look at is my phone. And then it's all the emails and texts from overnight. And it's like training yourself to just be healthier in small micro ways of like, you don't need to look at that yet. Get up, go have a glass of water, go brush your teeth, do your mantras, like whatever you need to do to really set your mind to be healthy from the moment you start your day.
Well, that was a very clear depiction on how one can.
I don't know.
Was
that okay?
No, it's fantastic. no, I was in the woods of Chattanooga, Tennessee, over the weekend, and
oh wow,
and
Tennessee.
Beautiful place,
Yeah.
well beyond expectation. And my friend said something about investing in people. My friend Pete, and I said, Pete, how would you teach a class on what it actually looks like to invest in people? And then we broke it down, like what are our tactical approaches one can take to do so.
Yeah.
So by you answering that is extremely helpful. It helps us think about the words that are associated with being more empathetic.
Yeah.
So it's awesome. Thank you.
I mean, like, honestly, my nature is not really an empathetic one. And I think that was a self-realization that I had to have, was that, like, and it's also okay, even though it's terrifying to admit it, but it shouldn't be, like, I had to work through my own guilt and shame of knowing that because of my life experiences and my own trauma or my own childhood, right? Which I had a beautiful childhood, but there were things that conditioned me to have more of a barrier and wall up as a female, right? And like as a female, we are really great at being able to tap into emotions and form empathetic connections. Like it's just our inherent nature. But because of that, I wanted to be a leader in my field, but not as just like a woman. Like I wanted to be a leader in my field regardless of who I was. And so I thought that I had to be more of a male-driven type individual in order to make it in this industry. So up until a few years ago, I was more of a cold kind of person, or not just cold, but like I didn't want to go deep. Like I didn't want to go deep into forming a connection of why you're going through something and how can I help you in terms of personal. Like I'm just being real. So once I made that change and I really understood that that's just not what this life is about. And if I continued down that road, then, I wouldn't have any personal relationships. Like work would just be my relationship. And that's not the life that I want. So
Yeah, let's take just a half second here to recognize the fact that you're showcasing to everybody right now that people can change, right?
oh yeah,
Yeah,
always.
yeah. And isn't that just a beautiful thing about life that we have choice like that?
Oh, it's amazing.
And since you've made that choice, what has it done for you in your relationships?
I mean, everything. It's changed everything. And that's what I was saying earlier was, when the closest people around me started to say, "Hey, like, you truly are a different person now." And it wasn't like they said it a month after I started, making these little changes. It was about a year-ish, like, after. Like, this is not something that just, like, happens overnight. You don't, knock down all your life walls of trauma overnight. But continuously working on them, it's just impossible not to have something change and shift in a good way. And that's how I saw it. I was like, I may not even be able to see it, but I can feel it in some way. Like when I hear a story from someone, I feel moved versus like thinking about what's the next appointment that I have. Like that's how disconnected I was. Yeah.
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 So you've gained a sense of peace and presence.
Presence, huge.
Yeah.
I love that word.
And now you've mentioned, I noticed you mentioned this
And
2 or 3 times.
Patience. Oh, patience is a
The
big
3
one.
P's.
3 P's, man.
3 P's of life. Peace, presence, and patience, baby. Let's go.
Yes.
So I noticed you mentioned this word 2 or 3 times so far, so we're going to have to tap into this a little bit.
Which one?
Well, you said the T word. It starts with trauma. That's the word. That's the
Trauma.
whole word.
We all have it is a thing.
And what would you say the answer is to that?
What's I
the-
do. I'm
the
a big believer in
response?
therapy.
Okay.
I am. But that being said, I do think it's immensely important who is that person for you. So, like for example, like I tried a lot of during COVID, I tried teletherapy, like online therapy.
Yeah.
It did not work for me at all. Like it honestly kind of borderline caused more issues in a weird way for me. I don't know how to explain.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
So, I would just say therapy, yes, but making sure that person or the group, if you will, that you are trusting with is, an expert in what they're doing. And then healthy habits is just, I know that's like the standard answer, but it's like, it's more of changing certain things that you are already doing and replacing them with maybe something that's a little bit more healthy for you. So I listen to a lot of music, right? Like that's like something that I just want to do 24/7. But in the mornings, it's better for me to not listen to music and to instead put on a Gary Vee podcast or something like that.
Heck yeah.
Oh God, the goat. That's just going to get my mind right from the beginning, and it carries out throughout the entire day. So, if I have a few moments that might be challenging throughout my day, music is not going to help in those moments if I'm just being real. But thinking about something that maybe Gary told me in the morning, where it's like, or whoever it is that I'm listening to at the time.
Zig Ziglar.
Yeah.
Just in case you haven't ever tapped into his stuff.
Yeah.
Game changer.
Well, it's just being reminded of, you are here to help. You're not here to stress anyone else out. And if someone else because, stress is contagious. I don't know if you know this. I watched this whole YouTube video on it. It absolutely blew my mind.
I'd love to watch that.
Oh my gosh. When you stress, you release obviously hormones, right? But also they sit on the top of your skin. So when you go to shake someone's hand or hug them, and say they're a stressed individual or just experienced a stressful meeting, it literally transfers onto you. Is that not the wildest thing ever? Like, this is science. Yes. Okay.
Thanks for sharing
Anyways,
that. I'm gonna have to look into that.
I digress, but
Wow.
yes, but it's to the point of like being aware of if you encounter something in that moment, it's like, no, like I can maintain my control, and I can be aware and patient and stay centered no matter what you experience throughout your day. And that's really important to me, especially lately. So
Maintaining that posture,
yeah, yes.
that stance, that groundedness.
Yeah, because, honestly, like people notice, man. People notice when you're stressed. People notice when you're anxious, and it's not a good look. It's not a good look in any way, and whether it's professional or personal. And I notice immediately if I start getting in that mode or mindset and I'm with someone, it affects our entire dynamic. And that's I in that moment, instead of just leaning and continuing the spiraling circle of emotions, you have to stop. Like, I have to stop myself. And that's like what I've learned, is just knowing that those moments are going to come, but like changing your action when the moments come into what's your reaction going to be.
Mm. Well, so whenever somebody comes on the show like yourself, that has like a forward and upward trajectory, like a growth spirit, a growth mindset.
We're trying.
Yeah, exactly. Right. There's a lot of positive energy that comes from that. So, what kind of positive energy or message
Sure.
would you want to leave on this earth to others?
Oh gosh, this is a big one.
Oh.
So,
But you can handle it, though. You can handle it. If anybody can, it's you.
Yeah.
Because you're made for this. You know that.
I mean,
I mean, really, right?
But yeah, I mean,
yeah.
It would just, okay, so maybe I say a little bit of not exactly what I should say, but I'm going to say something like a motto that's really always, at first when I first heard it, it was a little abrasive to me, but I've applied it in so many ways in my life. So know the dog you're walking is a phrase and something that I learned early in business, ironically, from someone that completely betrayed me in business. And that was a lesson that, and a phrase that I tell people all the time, like all the time. And at first you're just like, oh, okay, whatever. I guarantee you tomorrow when you're like coffee meetup or later in your coffee meetup, it's going to hit you in some way, shape, or form, is like, know the dog you're walking. So if you know yourself, applied to this specific situation, I think if you know yourself, then you'll know where to go and what you need to do to get there. But also, as you encounter people in your life, know the dog you're walking. If you have intuition of, something, whether it's good or bad, it's like, listen to that. And also be aware of every situation. So yeah, I know it's a little bit of an intense one, but it literally, like, I think about this almost every day.
Dude, that's what's up. That's fired up.
I don't know. Is that a good answer?
No,
You like
wrong
that
answer.
one?
It's fantastic.
Well, yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
We'll see.
Thank you for sharing that. Know the dog you're walking. That should be a T-shirt. Talk about your one-off T-shirt here. You got to get yourself with a little doggy.
I mean, I want one of those.
No,
but I want one of those ones. I mean, I go coffee.
Dang.
Dude, as a freelancer, all we do is go to coffee shops. Literally.
You must know all the best coffee shops.
Oh, I know all of the coffee shops.
So, Brooke, as a professional human, you're going to attract like kind people. And they're probably going to want to maybe ask you some questions or just meet up and talk shop or what have you.
Sure.
How do people find you?
Oh, yes. I think the best way is just, I have a public Instagram called The Creative Admirer, and that's the best way to get in contact with me. And also, all of my contact information is built into my profile, of course. So yeah, The Creative Admirer.
Creative Admirer on Instagram.
On Instagram.
And then to wrap things up, we covered this a little bit before we started recording. Who is one person that you want to talk with
Oh my gosh.
for an hour?
Okay, so he asked me this before, and I was supposed to have an answer ready by now. But I got a little distracted, as you can see.
Gary V? Is it Gary V?
I would probably, yes, let's say Gary V. I mean,
but is that your top choice?
I mean, he's the guy. Like,
he's in the marketing space. You're in the marketing space.
He's someone that, you know, when you have these people that it's like, if you had 5 minutes, you know that your life would be changed. Because even if they said just 5 words, they're just so profound and knowledgeable and impactful with like those 5 words.
How about how about those clips you see where somebody's like, Gary, I saw you for 10 seconds 3 years ago and I took your advice and I did it and I'm crushing it. And then he's like, my man, and they hug it. You know what I mean? Like,
I know.
So yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I think so. I think
Gary
he would be a
Vaynerchuk.
trip. He would be a trip for sure.
Dang.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this.
Yes.
If I
are
were
you gonna write a letter to Gary for me?
Matter of fact, I am.
Are you?
That's what I do.
It's what. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is how he makes things happen.
Yeah. Well, we make the effort. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then, how would we get Gary to say yes to the meeting?
Ooh. You know, we gotta incorporate something culture specific, I think, to pique his interest. I know that he's had his eye on Austin. He was just in Dallas. I'm not a weird stalker. I just listen to his podcast every morning. And so I mean, he does really enjoy specific niches and cultures. So I think we'll just pick something. Maybe we create an activation that we think he would enjoy and invite him to come.
Yep. I got some things rolling. This is gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. To be determined. Stay tuned.
Part 2.
Part 2. Yeah. If we can get Gary Vaynerchuk
Exactly.
up in here,
Exactly.
Awesome. Brooke, thank you so much for coming on today. You're the ideal person to come on the show.
Thank you so much for saying that.
Share your story.
I did ask you because I don't know. I was like, why do you think I would be good to come on the show? And you were so nice with your answer. So thank you. I appreciate that a lot.
You bet, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Of course, Pivotal Moments podcast with Brooke Blodgett.
Blodgett, yeah.
Is French. And your host, Greg Carlson. Till next time, everybody. Cheers.
Thank you.